Alright, how's everybody doing today? In this video, we're going to be doing an HID reinstallation on the Elantra GT here. Now, recently, my HID kit failed after about 3 years. It's a cheap 55 watt Kinsen HID kit. I had a relay harness in there. Everything was working great, and one day it just wouldn't turn on anymore. So I troubleshooted it for a little bit, and since it's been so cold outside, I was like, screw it. I took the HID bulbs out, put in a set of plug-and-play LEDs, and for the time being, those have worked okay, but they really have like awful output on these projectors. So I went ahead and splurged on a set of Hylux Canbus ballasts. These are 35 watts. They should be plug-and-play on the car. I'm hoping they're plug-and-play, so I can go ahead and take all the relay harness stuff out of the car and I guess minimize the amount of wiring and stuff in the engine bay. So before I start rambling too much, let's go ahead and check out the HID kit and then get to installing it on the car and hopefully test it out before I rip all the other stuff out, just in case it isn't plug and play and I do need the relay harness for some odd reason or something like that. But let's go ahead and check out the HID kit. Here's the HID kit. I know it doesn't look like much, but this is a Canbus system, so again, you shouldn't need a relay harness. But I went ahead and got the Hylux 35 watt Canbus ballast. Here's all the information if you guys want to check it out. I got these from Lightworks on eBay. This whole thing costs about $102 right here. Includes the bulbs of your choice. These are 5500K, so right in the middle between output and color. These should be pretty close to a pure white. So that's what I wanted. I know they're not quite as high of an output as like a 4300K bulb, but if I someday wanted to go to a 55 watt ballast, these would probably be the best choice. So again, these have the air cancelers on them with an additional ground, and then you have, I assume, the bulb igniter right here that goes into the bulb within the housing. So again, this is a pretty small setup compared to the Kinsen sit on my car. As you can see, there's one ballast and there's the other ballast, and the relay harness is part of it's up there, snakes along the front here, and pops out over here, and there's a ton of extra stuff. There's resistors on each side, and so I'm pretty excited to put this in the car, and hopefully it's just plug and play, everything works, and we can get rid of all this crap. But like I said, before we go ahead and rip everything out, let's go ahead and at least put one side on, turn the car on, make sure when it's running the bulbs and HIDs work, because this car, everything should work on accessory mode, but for some reason when you turn it on, the Canbus system, you know, cuts the power if it doesn't sense something's right. So let's go ahead and throw one in, turn the car on, and make sure it works. Alright, so it looks like a mess now, but everything's hooked up. The ballast, everything's up here, connected to the new bulb inside there. I don't have the dust cover on. If it doesn't work right away, we'll probably have to flip this, I guess, source wire from the car. But everything else should be okay, and we're ready to test it. So I'm pretty sure the bulb is almost fully warmed up there. Yeah, that looks quite a bit brighter than the LEDs I have in right now. LED, HID. Now I love the idea of LEDs, but the fact that they do not work well in these projectors, or so far the ones I have tried have not worked well, leads me to just go back to HIDs, even though these are 35 watt. They should be brighter than the LEDs, and at least plug and play like we just saw. So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and start ripping out that side of HID, and we'll go from there. Now, because I already had an HID kit, I already drilled the holes in my dust caps for the wires to pass through. Now, if you've not already done this, you'll want to go ahead and do that for the new kit. As you can see, the grommet comes on the wires themselves. So basically, all I'm going to have to do is pull this one out and put the new one through. However, if you have not done this, you'll want to find the biggest bit, for my car anyway, find the biggest bit that fits between these two or any of these sections here, and drill the hole there. The grommet doesn't sit flush, but it fits through, seals just fine. I've never had an issue. So when you're done fishing the wires through the ballast, the bulb and the signal wire should be on the inside of the dust cap, and on the outside there should be the ballast wire and these power wires that go to the connections towards the ballast. Here's my final setup. Now, one thing to note is, thankfully there was like just enough room. This dust cap actually hits the wires coming out of the back of the HID bulb. So, I mean, it just barely fit. I mean, I'm sure it might be, stressing it a little bit in there because, the way it's, pressing up against the back of the wires, but it fits. The grommet comes out of the side. Okay, so I have everything plugged in and working. I just tested it with the car on and off. Everything works perfectly, which is great. I'm so happy about that. But I actually, in the process, found a better mounting spot that's actually really clean when it comes to mounting the ballast and the other pieces to the kit. So when I was playing around this side, I originally had the ballast here, and everything was going to get shoved in down there, just like this side. However, I was like, wait, it looks pretty thin. It looks like it'll fit up there. So sure enough, I undid this ground, and it was so close to fitting, and it was hitting the bottom of this screw. So I undid this like 2 or 3 turns. The ballast slid perfectly in line there, just enough to where, it's not going to move. I tightened this screw back down, and right now you can't tell, but this is actually pinching the ballast against the body, and that thing is not going anywhere. So that is awesome fitment. I taped these both side by side right there, and everything looks super clean on this side. So I'm actually going to redo this side, put the ballast up there, pinch it in the same fashion with this bolt, and then I'll probably leave this there and put this next to it, and then everything should be nice and tidy and plug and play and working. And and I also ripped the relay harness out. So glad I got that out of there, because it actually looks, in this area, looks a ton cleaner. Like, you couldn't even really see that resistor before, or that bolt for the intake or anything like that. So everything's super clean. I'm gonna go ahead and redo that side, and I am so far really satisfied. so just like the other side, here's what I ended up doing. Again, the ballast fit perfect. There is no wiggle room in that ballast at all when it's pinched down by this headlight bolt. I taped these two side by side. I had to do them in the reverse order because of the way the wires coming out of the ballast are. It works better like this. And all the wires are, again, all right here. So both sides pretty much look the same. I am very pleased with that install. I'm going to fire it up one more time, make sure everything works, and yeah, that's pretty much it. This was way easier than the Kenzen kit I got, and a lot better quality, and really, I guess I should have just done this in the first place, because this is well worth the $100 I spent on this kit. So gonna make sure everything works okay, and other than that, that's about it. Okay, so I'm all done installing the 35 watt Hylux Canbus HID kit on my car. As you guys saw, I was able to really cleanly install this on the car. Managed to put the ballast and all the wires in a very tight spot, and really it's out of, you know, the plain sight view, whereas I used to have all these wires down in this area, and it looked awful, and it just created a whole bunch of clutter in the engine bay that really was not needed. Now, if you're doing this install on a clean slate, meaning your car does not have an HID kit on it, it might take a little longer because you're gonna have to drill out the dust covers and, you know, figure everything out for the first time. But if you're exchanging this HID kit for a different HID kit where you already have the dust covers drilled and, you know, really you're just tearing out and replacing stuff, it really shouldn't take any more than a half hour for this entire kit. It took me a little longer just because I had to redo the one side and figure out where I wanted to put everything, but if you have a good spot on your car already, then that is the way to do it. But luckily I found an even better spot to put my stuff. So now, after looking at the output on the wall, I'm not sure these are going to be as bright as the Kenzen 55 watt HIDs I had. Now, a lot of people say the cheap HIDs don't put out their true power rating. So even if the Kenzen was putting out 35 to 40 watts, these still quite weren't as bright. So, you know, that's to be expected, I guess, with this kit since it is a 35 watt. So, you know, I'm okay losing a little bit of output in the end. If, you know, everything's plug and play like this, it looks super clean in the engine bay, and it's still much brighter than the LED bulbs I had, as well as the stock halogens I had. So really, it's a win-win. You're just gonna lose a little bit from the 55 watt output with the Canbus system. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button if it helped you guys in installing this kit, or if you guys plan on installing it on the car. Go ahead and share this video with anyone that you might think will like this kit. On this car, on the Elantra GTs, I would highly recommend it. As you can see of where I put the ballast and all the wires, it is just a great fitment, very clean install. So if you have an Elantra GT, or even I guess an Elantra of this generation, those would probably be about the same on the sedan and the coupe and stuff like that. So you could probably do it very similar on those cars. So if you guys plan on doing it, comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Let me know what you guys think of the output shots I'll put after this outro. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.